Hello and welcome to Geekatplay Studio Tutorials. In this tutorial, we're going to create this rocky, deserty kind of look. Mostly what we will be working with the procedure terrain to create that special look, kind of sharp look, and also dune some sand, work with materials, creating this sandy look covers. Also some different color sand distorted. We will work with ecosystem, with the placement, with the clumping and other new options such as view distribution systems, as well with the lighting and rendering. And we're also going inside the Photoshop and post process for those who are interested to create a little bit more illustration kind of look with effect and see how work in Photoshop with some editing, adding additional clouds can a little bit speed up our process. Let's go ahead and start working on this project. The first what we're going to do is working on creating shape of the terrain. And we actually will going to use procedure terrain for this. So let's go create one. Okay, I also will zoom out and just maybe move out of the camera view. Here is our camera. The reason is why I want to work on the functions for this. And many times for the speed, we may be using standard terrains, but understanding how the procedure terrain works will give you much more flexibility. So we created very unusual and interesting shapes. So it's what we're going to do right now. Let's go right click and we can go to the edit object. You can also access edit object from different properties, top navigation menu, or just right click on procedure terrain here. So right here we have it open our window. Okay, I'll just move it slightly on the side. And if you're on any other tab, be sure you go to procedures or our tabs. We'll right click and go to edit function. So right here we have it our function editor. You also notice this is a function editor set in a new kind of from left to right. If you're using early versions of the view, you maybe have it from top to bottom. So all nodes will be same for this one. So you don't have any new nodes. We will going to use all the standards. It's just a little bit different layout. Okay, so what we're going to do first, I want to take this simple fractal and replace this with the terrain fractal. So let's go ahead and enable. We also can click on the side to preview. Let's move it a little bit out. Okay, one thing you'll notice, we have a multiplier right here, which is needed to make look similar with previous versions. So what I want to do with this multiplier, I want to actually go ahead and for now just reduce. In some cases, you maybe want to keep this multiplier inside, do not remove it, so we can change very fast way the scale of our terrain, because we'll have to produce some noise. Okay, let's go back to terrain properties for our fractal, and right here what we're going to do, we'll go check our meta scale. So let's take this down to 5. We also take large scale and press to the 5. We leave it okay, right here. We can preview. You can see we have a nice shapes already can become visible. Also notice I have it enabled the zero edges, so it's take those edges and bring them to the zero, create nice mountain look. It's actually what I want to do. You can always disable them, which will create a flat look. But again, for this purpose, what we're going to do, the zero edges will work, give it us necessary result. Okay, next we'll leave it all of these properties same, except I maybe want to take some distortions and pop up them maybe around 4. Or just stretching. You can see distortions creating this little bit turbulence, stretching effect. So overall, this is probably a very good beginning shape for this. Okay, just scroll down, verified. You'll notice noise rigid, so we'll keep it everything else as default. Next, what I want to do, I want to add some effect of the dunes or sand effect. And for this, we'll create another noise now and we'll connect them. So let's go highlight any area. Next, we'll go inside our noises. So let's go scroll all the way up. And right here, you can see we have one noise. So I'm going to enable this. We're automatically connecting to our property. Okay. Next, let's go inside here and we'll just says take this down to maybe that's good enough, 2 points. Okay. Right now we don't connect anything, so let's go enable some kind of blender so we can preview how it's work. And one way to add, we'll just again click on the middle, we'll scroll down, find ways our combiners, just add blender. Okay, let's click on a plus expanding. So we'll take one connect, one input, and we'll take from this connecting to another one. Okay, so let's click altitude, and from here we'll connect to output. Notice it's have the actual bulging effect, and in some cases we may want to use this, but because I want to create dunes, I need to invert them. So we'll highlight one of the connector and we're going inside the filters. Okay, where's our filters? Right here. Okay, and we'll just go and insert opposite. So I see right here what's happening. Now we have it nice applied somewhat dunes, except we need to stretch them to make it look more like a sand. So we'll go to do this. Before we stretch, what I want to do, I want to also create, adjust some simple turbulence to the origin. So it's add this little bit waviness to them. So let's go to our turbulence. Okay, we'll go to create simple turbulence and connect this to the origin. So you see how it starts kind of shifting them. We can go inside turbulence itself and modify a little bit properties right here. So let's go take larger features and take down slightly so you can see we have it now more smaller details applied. We can also take amplitude in pop up a little bit higher. There you go. Now we start having interesting stretchings. Okay. Let's go to take harmonics maybe a little bit down, and the scaling of our amplitudes and overall down as well. There you go. So we have a little bit nicer effect on those turbulence, so they don't look exactly the same. You can see like right here, look more naturally. So now inside the Warner, what I want to do, I want stretching them, and we can do stretching by changing Y to maybe 0.4. And right here you can see we have our camera, and we just start stretching them this way. Just give it nice effect. Next, when on a blending mode right now, I want to blend them so we'll have a nicer effect without changing shape too much. So let's go inside the blender. Okay, and in blender we'll just switch to the add mode, and we'll go ahead and bring closer this way. Okay, let me see, maybe opposite. So we kind of start playing with some settings. Here's the other problem is, if we're going all the way to the higher effect, so maybe around, somewhere maybe around 8, you see how tall the applied, so add. I want to smooth them. I don't want them have it too high. So for this one, actually, we want to use a smooth map. So right here, you can see, okay, so we'll go take our smooth map right here. What this map does, it's input range, and we'll have it from -1 black to 1 white, high and low, and give it as output range. So by connecting these values, so let's go to connect them right here, we can say a lower value may be set to -0.5, which reduce amount, and it's different from clipping, so it's not just cutting them, it's take this value and reevaluating them, recalculating, so they're putting those values between these connections, so it's make look much cleaner and nicer. So right here you can see how it's rework. You always can go back to this smooth map if you want it. Okay, let's go back right here and modify these values. For example, you can even take top one, bring down, so you can see how already starts smoothing up a little bit more, and recalculating, creating, still having all the shapes, heights and details, but only mapping them kind of almost like in smaller, flatter look. Okay, so before we finish with this, let's go over again, see what we've done. So we have it right here, set multiplier, and again, if you need multiplier, you can always pop up maybe to 2, and you can see right here how we increase our details. So I'm just go with 1. Okay. Next, let's go inside our terrain, fractal terrain. What do we have here? And again, looking, we just reduce our meta scale feature. Okay, they're all good. Maybe play a little bit more with distortions. Example, we can bring higher. You can see it's add some nice sub details right here to our distortion, so you can play on this level. Okay, next we'll go to our simple turbulence, and let's look. So we have it add for this is about all right, and it's this turbulence again will apply to our overlay filter, which is we're going to use, which we're using us to create it, those ridges, kind of like sand ridges almost. Okay, you know what, let me switch from this one to round to angular, so it will make them just slightly less sticking out. Okay, it's going nicely. Okay, we have our grading opposite, we blend them together, and you know we can even bring a little bit higher them because I make them a little bit lower. Okay, and in a smooth map again, if you think it's a little bit too low, we can go bring them up, bring those ridges higher or smooth. Overall, what in this kind of creating terrain, what I want to show you, it is how you can take some function, mix them together, apply some distortions, details, combine and controlling to the smooth map, and you can create very unique, very interesting terrains this way. So okay, let's click OK now, and this is our terrain. We're going to work with this in our next tutorial.